If you desire to walk in alignment with your purpose, to live a life of joy, abundance, and fulfillment, you've come to the right place. This is Sarah Locke, and welcome to Purpose Unlocked. Today I want to talk about my word for the year. And you might be thinking, it's September, aren't we a little late for a word of the year? But the truth of the matter is, this word was given to me at the beginning of the year, and I just didn't feel like it was appropriate to share until now. I just felt like it was something for me, something that I knew that I had to work on. And so my word of the year has been obedience. And the other thing about a word of the year or a New Year's resolution is, to be quite honest with you, I find it very tacky. And so you're like, all right, then why do you have one? I just felt like God had given me this word, and it was like, you need to be obedient. And that's something that I struggle with, because if you know me, I'm the type of person, like, I like to be in control. I like to be in control of my situation. And I just knew that going into this year, having lost my corporate job at the end of 2023, I knew that this was going to be a season of growth and of change. And did I know how huge the changes were going to be? No, I certainly did not. But I did know that I was being called to do something different. I was being called to start my own business, to start coaching and helping people and putting out messages that were empowering and to help people grow in their own lives. And so I just had this calling that I knew that I was made for more. I knew that I needed to start my own business, and I needed to really commit to doing the coaching and creating the classes and the courses and the website and all of the things. So my word was obedience, because I knew that if I was going to stick with it, I had to be obedient in the fact that this was going to be my main plan and my main job. And throughout the course of this year, that was definitely tested. So how am I doing on my obedience journey? As someone who has always loved education and loved getting a score, I think I would probably give myself like a B-, which isn't great, but I feel like it's not terrible. I feel like if it were up to me, completely up to me, I probably would have failed at the obedience journey through the year. But when I was thinking about it, and I said, what would disobedience look like? So what would it look like if I were the opposite? And to me, that would be jumping right back into corporate America. Now, I didn't do that, and I didn't go applying for a million jobs, but I have applied to a few positions, and not a lot. Just if I see something and it looks really good and it's like really calling me, that's when I feel like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna, if it's meant to be, it'll be, right? Like, I'm just gonna apply. And again, I still feel like that is in certain ways acting in disobedience, but it's also, I'm someone like, I want to shoot my shot. So with all of that being said, what is causing this disobedience? And I really wanted to unpack that, because I feel like it can help someone else with their calling. So whether obedience is your word of the year, or whether you just realize that you have to be obedient to whatever it is that you feel called to do, I wanted to unpack some of the things that have gotten in my way, and hope that that helps you. So for me, the biggest thing has been my pride. And that part has been really hard and hard to swallow, because for me, I loved having a corporate job. I loved having the fancy title. I loved the decent, steady paycheck. And I had been doing really well in corporate America, and I loved it. And it was a sense of pride. It did give me that, like, I matter and I'm worth something. And the truth of the matter is, if you have ever started your own business, if you know any entrepreneurs, you know that you have to start at zero. And that's how everyone starts. Even Bill Gates, like, everyone has started like in their garage, like making nothing, and wasn't sure if it was ever going to be anything. So obviously my story is going to be no different. So that part honestly has been really difficult, the starting from zero. And And again, my pride getting in the way and saying, you could go back to this corporate career. You could go back to doing something. And I know that they call corporate America, it's the place of the golden handcuffs, right? Because you have all of these great benefits and you have a great paycheck and all of these things, and it holds you there and it prevents you from doing the thing that you want to do if that is outside of corporate. I'm not saying that everyone should be an entrepreneur, but I'm certainly saying that if you feel called to do so, it's so hard to break free, especially when you're in a situation that you don't dislike. I didn't hate my job. I loved my job. I loved the people that I worked with. So it was really hard to break free. And at the end of the day, it wound up not being my choice. It was something that I prayed about, and I was like, God, I just need the boost, the kick in the butt to really get my own thing started, which I had anticipated was going to be a side hustle, and then it turned into the full hustle. So losing my job had to happen in order for me to get the kick that I needed. And I just felt like everything and the chain of events that happened before, during, and after all of that was just, I could just see God's timing in all of it, and it made perfect sense. Now, I am very blessed that I have a husband who has a great job with great benefits. So we're going to be fine. And when I was in corporate America, I made really wise investment decisions, and we've continued to live below our means. So we're in a place financially where I don't need to rush back to corporate America. So the only thing really standing in my way of being obedient and doing what I need to do is my pride. And even just this past week, I had seen a job posting on LinkedIn, because I'm still on LinkedIn, and obviously growing my business, networking is incredibly important. So I saw a job posting for something that was remote, and it looked really interesting, and I knew someone who worked at the company, so I reached out and I was like, oh yeah, this could be good for both of us. But then the more I thought about it, and the more I thought about my need to be obedient, and not only what that means for my relationship with God, but also what I feel like God is trying to tell me for my relationship with my future son and with growing my family and all of the things that I could be doing with him, I wouldn't be able to do if I had taken that job. Not to mention, I'm now 8 months pregnant. So if I got called for a second round interview, like I could be going into labor. So it was also just, so my obedience is partially because I know that I'm called to something greater. And to be honest with you, it is partially because I don't have much of a choice right now. Now, am I the only pregnant person that has been unemployed or gotten a new job? No, of course not. I know that it's still possible, but it's not very practical right now for me. And when would I even be able to start, and all of this stuff? So all of those things were things that I had taken into consideration. I did wind up not applying to that job, but it was a conversation that I had with my husband. And again, he's never anything but supportive. And he was like, okay, if you feel you want to apply, like, go for it. And if not, that's okay too. And then we wound up having a conversation just yesterday. And it was about this other woman that I follow on YouTube. She is someone who, she builds websites, and she's an author, and she's very intelligent. And it was actually the website building software that I've been using. I follow her because she gives all of these great advice videos and things. And just recently, the software company, who I'm pretty sure we're going to all be reporting to the Better Business Bureau because they're wildly unethical, but they wound up changing their pricing. And now if you bought into their lifetime membership plan, like, now it doesn't really work the way that it was supposed to. And so it's this big, huge mess. And she was posting about that. And basically, if you want to do the monthly subscription or transfer your website to somewhere else and have that monthly subscription, you can do that, but it's going to be like almost $100 a month. So for anyone who has a small business or is starting a business and you don't have the constant revenue coming in and you don't know when that's going to be coming in, that's a pretty big spend and that's a pretty big lift. And she was really honest in her video. She was like, I do this as my side hustle, but my full-time responsibility is being a stay-at-home mom. And so I think it was almost like God planted that message where I needed to see it, because she was like, yeah, this is important to me, but what's more important is my family. And I had been telling my husband about this, and again, I'm starting my business from scratch too, and it's going to be my side hustle, and my main hustle is going to be taking care of this baby. But I told him about what she had said, and he goes, oh, how do you feel about that? And I knew what he meant, but then I sarcastically said, oh, that's lovely for her. That's great for her, but not for me. And he was just like, come on. And I'm like, to be honest with you, it kills me. And even though it kills me, I am still so grateful. I'm so grateful that he is working so hard and he has a great job. I'm so grateful that we can afford for me to have this time at home to focus on raising my family and to grow my business on the side. So it's not that I'm ungrateful in any way. It's just that my pride is getting in the way, and it's still something that I'm trying to squash out. So that is something that I am going to continue to kind of pray about and hand over to God, because it's something that I've had a really hard time fixing. It's something that I've been battling all year. And it's definitely something that probably would have taken over completely if I wasn't in the situation where I'm also growing a baby and going to be taking care of him and growing this family. So if it wasn't for that, and it was completely up to me, then unfortunately my pride probably would have won out, and I wouldn't be walking in the obedience of just pursuing my purpose. And also a little earlier in the week, I had gotten another word, and the word was trust. And I think that that's another thing that I'm having a really hard time with in this obedience walk. And it's because my pride is getting in the way and I don't have enough trust. And that doesn't make any sense. Why would I not trust the God who has literally answered all of my prayers? Why would I not trust the God who has completely turned my life around in 1 year? I look back at the beginning of 2024 and I was honestly feeling quite bitter. I remember feeling bitter around the Thanksgiving and Christmas time, during the holidays. I remember being really salty about the fact that I was ending the year with, I kept saying, well, I have no baby and no job. And that's such a negative way to look at it. And I know that I'm not normally a negative person. I'm very optimistic, but I was just feeling, really, I was throwing a pity party is what I was doing, to be honest. But thinking about how I was entering the new year with no baby and no job. And now that it's the end of the year, I've made progress on my business. I've come up with plans for what I'm going to do next. I've created these courses that I'm super excited to get out there and share with the world. And so I can see the progress that I've made in my professional life and developing this business. And then I see that from the start of the year to the end of the year, I'm growing a whole human life. So by this next birthday, I'm going to have a 2-month-old, and that's just crazy to me. So I just know that God is so faithful. If he is telling me to do something, it's not just to watch me fall. It's to see if I am obedient, he's going to come through because he makes us those promises. And I'm just struggling with the obedience and I'm struggling with the trust, but I know that I need to trust him because it's not like he doesn't have this amazing track record. It's not like I didn't just watch him work miracles in my life all year this year. So if you are struggling with obedience to your calling, you are not alone. if it is your pride getting in the way or fear or anything else, trust me, I am there with you. And it's been a hard journey for me. But if you're like me, you might need to just build your trust muscle and trust that God has this bigger plan for you. And if he has called you into something, he is going to deliver you into what he has planned for you to do. And I just need to trust him. And I felt the need to share this because if anyone else out there is going through something similar, I just want you to know that you are not alone. And I hope that you can learn from some of my struggles and some of my mistakes. At the very least, we are in this together and we're going to rise triumphant. I know that in the bottom of my heart. And I know that because I need to trust him. And I hope that if this has served you, or if you know someone else that could benefit from this message, please share it with them. And thank you for your time.
Thank you for the precious gift of your time. If you found this helpful, please be sure to like, subscribe, and share with someone you love. Until next time, count your blessings, love yourself, and stay fabulous.